This is Southern Queens Podcast, where we talk about culture, community, womanhood, and entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Danette Everett, and welcome. All right, so welcome to Southern Queens Podcast. I'm your host, Danette Everett, and today we have a special guest, Santana Houseworth.
Hi.
And we've been knowing each other since high school, and I invited her on the show because I believe she has a powerful story to tell. And I think it's important for her to share that because I feel like there are people that can relate with her story. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and break into the first question. And I just want to first say it's very good to see you.
I know. It's been forever.
Yeah, I haven't seen you since it was Peter Street.
Yes.
That was
our spot.
Was it the last one?
It was probably before I left.
And it was your grandfather's place. That was I can't remember if between those. It was one of those.
The event hall.
Yeah, it was one of those. So how have you been since then?
I've been great, actually. Life did do a number. Mm-hmm. I did actually do 5 years in prison after being a 4-year college student.
Right.
What 23 hours short of my bachelor's degree in business management.
Okay.
I've returned home after looking at a 16-year sentence. Returned home, and it's just like, hey, finish what you started. Just do it better and bigger, you know.
I think it was such a blessing for you to be able to come out at the time that you came in. Because did you even serve your full?
No. See, I served 5 out of 16.
I feel like Spirit was covering you because you came out at a good time because you still have so much time to really thrive and still take off with your project.
You know, what I realized is that it's not really where you are in life. It's what you do with where you are in life. So although I was incarcerated, my mental was still free. So physically I was confined, but mentally I reached levels within myself that I didn't even see capable, especially not being in the place that I was in around the kind of people I was surrounding myself around because I had no choice.
So tell me, how was that experience being in there? How did it affect you, like mentally, spiritually?
I think spiritually, when I started out, I kept my momentum up. It was every day I said tomorrow. I was like, tomorrow I'm going to hear something. Tomorrow my appeal, I'll win. So every day I woke up and said, faith, faith, faith. This is going to happen. God knows me and he will not leave me behind. It's no way that God will just leave me in a place like this. But as you continue on into your sentence, it gets sad, you know. You lose friends. You stop hearing from people. You call home and you're so excited because they're excited to talk to you. But it's sad because you're like, wow, I'm supposed to be there. You know, your grandfather sounds like he's getting older. Your mom sounds like she's weary. It got sad, but I just had to keep swimming. Like, keep going, keep going.
I want to say that, girl, I never forgot about you.
Thank you.
I was always thinking about you. I was just, even though I wasn't writing you or anything like that, I was still
in spirit.
Yeah, wishing that you were okay, wishing that you were still up and everything. But I just think I can see it. I'm like, this is like powerful. Like I can see it. Like, and then you begin to go into poetry and writing after that. And were you using, I think at one point you were also motivating, once you got out, you were still motivating the women inside of there, right? So talk about it a little bit about that.
So when I got out, I couldn't help but go back to say, hey guys, when I get home, you're going to hear from me. I'm going to call you. I'm going to JPay you. I'm going to, they have phones now. So, hey, you guys have Facebook. I'm going to message you. Right. So I figured, like, I woke up one day and I was like, you know what? I'm going to tag as many people as I remember. I'm going to put together a collage and a TikTok. And I'm just going to say, look at this. We were all in the same place. We were all crying together at one point in time saying, we can't wait to get there. And look at us now. We're all here. And it's people who are still there and we're waiting and ready for them to come home. But, you find people 5 years of being around somebody every day. That's 365 days out of a year. you guys are like, you know me more than friends who've known me for 12 years, you know, because you are my safe place or a safe space. Like, you know, you're my, let me keep going. Let me keep going because you're fighting a life sentence. So let me not complain about 16, you know, you might not ever get out.
So it's like you've gotten to see like other people's, it's like you've gotten to see their perspective of life being incarcerated rather than people on the outside who are free. And it's people, it's crazy because I feel like people on the outside don't understand how free they really are.
How free they are until they're inside and literally confined in spaces that they wish they never had to be in. And then imagine being in prison and then you have to go to isolation or lockdown. Like, who wants to be confined inside of confinement? That's insane. And then COVID came. So like anything that was therapeutic or good for the mental shut down. So everybody is now just doing drugs or like fighting or like lost.
They have drugs?
Oh, they just made ways to do everything. You'll be surprised. Wow. You know, and it's like people didn't want better. All kind of K2, meth, coke.
Wow. I mean, well, no, drinking, that's not surprising.
Making their own liquor.
They show it. Moonshine. Yeah. Crazy. So, I mean, well, that's not like, I know about the drugs. They put it in the movies.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow.
Crazy. Okay. They just figure out how to live.
So, like, how did you go into writing?
Oh, that's a good question.
Did it start in there or when you came out?
No, it started in there. So for 6 years now, I've been writing poetry. I was in DeKalb. I got sentenced 16 years. It shook me. I mean, it shook me so bad, y'all. I don't even think I dropped a tear. I was so in shock because I was just like, it's no way. It's no way little old me will be going to prison for 16 years. I could not fathom that. Especially not the kind of person that I was, the life I was living. It's no way that life could do me like this.
Santana is like, oh, like, you know, all over. I was like thriving.
Right. Like, I couldn't see that for me. So I got sentenced 16 years. When you get sentenced over 10 years in the cab, they put you in 23-hour isolation. Worst idea they could have ever done. Because at this point, mama, I'm not going to make it. I'm jumping out this rail or this rail. Like, I cannot do that, right? I go to isolation. 2 days, I am crying my eyes out. Like, I wake up day number 2, my eyes are swollen. Like, you would have thought golf balls swollen. And I'm like, God, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't spend another day crying. You have to help me, please, please, please. At the time, I'm on the phone with my boyfriend. He was like, hey, babe, write me a poem. I was like, you done lost your mind. Who? What you want me to say? I can't write no poetry. I go back into my cell because I have another 28 hours to sit in here because there's no telling when my rotation is going to come out to let me out for that little 58 minutes. Yeah. I wrote 1 poem. I wrote 2. The second one was my mom. The third one was for my ex. And that was the way I could grieve. That is when I realized, wow, I don't have to hurt because I can let it out. So I just started writing poetry. And all the tears I need to cry, it was going on paper. I can
definitely relate to that.
Because I couldn't speak about it. It was hard to talk about without, I couldn't even get to the part that I wanted to get to because I would just bawl. Yeah. I would be wailing. Like, and poetry helped me speak. If
I definitely understand you when it comes to that writing because I had a not so good breakup. Right. And I did everything. Right. I moved away, started a business, finished school, and then it was just like, oh.
Something couldn't shake, right?
I started writing. And that's when it like finally like started to like, you know, so I definitely get that.
It was the writing because, you know, it's hard to talk to someone when you're in a
angry, hurt,
despondent spot in life. You don't even understand yourself. You're just groping through the dark. So like, I don't want to speak in its anger or its rage. So the only choice I have is to, oh, wow, if I put it on paper, then I could get it out without hesitation, without interruption. I could say exactly what it is that my mind is trying to convey. And I just put my thoughts on paper. And when I realized, wow, that helped me heal, I started writing poetry to help other people heal.
You know what I figured out is because you can do all those other things. You can jog, you can do physical things. But it's like the spirit, you can't physically touch the spirit, so you have to do things
that make you feel like you're in reach.
To heal, So the things like writing and music and singing, all of those things that like help that come out.
It's therapeutic. Yeah. So you start looking at music and even people who differently, because you want to listen like, wow, he's a therapeutic rapper. He's literally telling a life story, and he's saying it with pain, and you can hear it in his voice. You know, so certain artists I listen to and I dissect because I'm like, wow, you were going through a stage. You know,
I'm excited to see where like your writing goes.
I can't wait.
Just like even just your art overall, like everything. Because it's like, you know how you can see things on people? They can't see it on themselves.
That's me.
Yeah, it's like you can see it on them. It's like you can see it, but it's like you have to, I think going through what I went through, what I started realizing, it's like when I finally came out of that little rut, I was like, I'm much better.
Right.
I'm stronger. Wiser.
You have to just get rid of some energy that didn't belong.
Yeah, but it just prepares you
for what's coming.
Yeah, because a lot of times we get focused on the clothes, the makeup, the shoes, how we look on the outside, and it's not about that.
You know, that's funny because in prison, you know, when you first get there, you don't get to have makeup. You don't get to have your hair done. So how'd
that make you feel? Because we all know you like fashion, you love the makeup.
In there, and I was like, you know, it's called diagnostics. You go through diagnostics first. And when I drug my little mat down that hallway and all the people came looking out, my heart dropped. I'm like, oh, anxiety. Like, you know, and I'm thinking I have these cornrows going to the back of my head because I didn't know how to braid at the time. I learned how to braid in prison. But I had to put some plaits in my head because they cut my sewing out. You're not allowed to have sew-ins going into prison, but when I left the jail, I had my sew-ins still from when I left court. So I was in jail for 4 months before going to prison.
Yeah.
Girl, I felt so small, and people would be like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. And I realized they weren't talking about how I looked, although they were. They were saying, girl, you have a spirit that is, you know, from jail to prison. They kept saying, and you, like a lady could be praying, it could be 8 girls, and, you know, I'm head bowed. I'm trying not to look because I'm just like, ooh, this is making me nervous. I feel tears coming. And she was just pointing you. Girl, God has something for you. And I was like, you're like the 3rd person who has said that in a week.
I'm going to be honest. Like, right before you went in and the last time we were at your, now I remember, it was at your grandfather's event hall. I felt it too. I was like, yeah, it's you know, it's not bad, but it's not good. It's like she gonna go through something, but it's gonna be like life changing. And it's like I don't know what it is, but I was like, girl, you got something on you. I don't know.
It was life changing.
Yeah. And then next thing I know, you were
gone. It's so funny. A lot of people thought that I was preparing them in that year. Like, I hanging with them. They thought that I was.
Felt that way too.
I swear to you, I had no idea.
I felt that way too.
I had no idea. I was just as delusional as could be because I just knew God's grace for me. It's no way I'm going to prison for something I didn't do. It was no way that could happen. And a lot of people said, girl, it's so crazy. I thought that year when you wanted to hang out and when you had that party, I thought you were kind of saying your goodbyes.
It felt like
I said, that's how you look back on things. And it's funny because it's like, wow, I had no idea. The spirit was just putting it on y'all.
It was there. It was there. I remember when I was I was going to Georgia State at the time, and I was coming from class. And, you know, Georgia State is connected to Grady, and I just happened to come out of class that day, and I hadn't seen you since graduation. And I was walking down the street, and you were coming out the hospital.
Broken C3. That's crazy. That was 13 months after I caught my charge. I broke my C3 and my hip bone in a car wreck. Crazy.
And I saw you.
I knew then too. I said, God, you gotta have something for me. That was a year before ever even going to trial. I was like, it has to be something. And you know what I realized? I was just moving. I was just here. Yeah. I needed to help you and you while I was just crumbling.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I was like a people's pleaser or I just saw things on people and I was like, I'm not gonna give up on you. We're gonna go until you get there. Even if it means I should leave you alone, we're still going to keep going until you get to that place, whether it means I go to another one. I don't know what kind of love or what kind of...
It's something because just to mention this real quick, our mothers knew each other before we knew each other.
Right. They did.
We didn't even know each other.
Didn't know
and
they
then
knew
we
each
ended
other.
up going to high school, and then my mom was like, "Oh, I know. Oh, hey, what's?" I was
right.
Like,
I was like, wait, y'all know.
So yeah, this is
God will put you in places that you need to be in for when you need to be there. And
yeah,
I know it sounds cliche, but I think everything truly happens for a reason. Everything. Like, I needed to go on that journey, not because I deserved it, but because I needed to get rid of people who were in my space who didn't deserve to be there. Friends, relationships, friendships.
You would probably been getting the warnings or the signs,
I did.
and it just wasn't.
You know what's so crazy? January of 2015 came in, and all of my Facebook posts were talking about God's train. It's okay to lose friends in relationships. It's okay to be alone. Where God is sending you, everybody can't go. Your destiny is not tied to the people who leave your life. Yeah. I kid you not. I look back at that post and said, wow, I was talking to God was using me to use me. I was talking to myself and I didn't realize it. I made videos about, hey, I'm tired of going through this. I have to change my environment, people I'm around. And I never saw that coming. God just said, hey, when I'm sending you somewhere else, I have to remove some things. So it's not really a dead end. It's a detour.
I have
to turn you around.
So being incarcerated was really like a kind of blessing in disguise.
It was a blessing in disguise. Although it was painful at times, it was, when I look back, I say, wow, there's no telling where I'd be today. I wouldn't be as, I've always been motivational or inspiring people or the friend to call if you need help or advice. I'm going to listen. You can vent. But that was needed for me to understand my worth. I kind of confused self-worth with net worth. I gave up my valuables, but that made the love worse. I had to realize, wow, who are you?
Probably lacked boundaries.
Yeah. I had none. It was just like, okay, I forgive you. Oh, it's okay. You were just upset.
So basically being incarcerated wiped you clean. It wiped your fashion, everything, how you looked on the outside. You really were on the inside because you had no choice but to be on the inside. I had no choice. Crazy that happened to you because the same thing happened to me because I ended up moving to Arkansas after college and the same thing happened to me. Like, I thought I was gonna, you have plans after college or you have plans, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and God was like, you going to Arkansas. I had my heart set on California and I just knew I was gonna rip and run through California. God was like, you going to Arkansas. And I went down there and I was cleaned of everything, like my fashion, my makeup, my hair, everything. Like I had lost like this whole thing I identified with. Like, it was crazy. And then I moved back to Atlanta. I didn't know how to dress anymore. I just lost, it's like a recreation. I guess it was God saying, now we're gonna rebuild,
restore you.
This is what we're gonna do, like all the clothes, all the shoes, all that stuff is gone. Girl, I didn't know. I looked like a bum.
me in prison. I was like, wait a minute, when can I get a package? Can I get my makeup? Because can I go get my hair done?
No, really, I look like a straight bum. I look like a bum.
You needed it though, so it's okay.
Yeah. I was confused. I was like, why?
Yeah. Did you understand after though why? Do you understand today why?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the important.
Today, I understand.
You might not understand the next year or the next day, but if you understand right now why it had to happen,
overwhelming.
It was a necessity.
More it is.
This God, please get somebody else to do it.
No, really.
I fought my battles, and I think I fought them pretty good.
Am I still on the list?
Right, please. Take me off.
All right, this has been a beautiful interview and a beautiful introduction into this podcast, and I'm excited to see where else this podcast is going to go and who else I'm going to have on and the other things I'm going to be talking about. Did you have anything else that you wanted to say? I had a question for you, but it just slipped my mind. That's okay. Did you have anything that you want to say? Your Instagram, where can we follow your work? Okay. Are you building a website for it? Are you going to start performing? When are you going to start performing?
Okay, so my Instagram is the Santana Story _. TikTok is the same thing. Facebook, Santana Houseworth. Each of my social media platforms give a different shade of who I am. So if you follow them all, you'll see she's a pretty girl who likes to dress. She's a spiritual girl who likes to speak about God and great things. And then she's a poet. So you'll just see everything mixed. I am actually trying to step out of my little box of fear and overcome. I am going to. And I'm going to start doing open mics. Seriously. I'm going to just go and get up there and see where it takes me. I have my LLC for makeup. Good. I am still in that shell too, because I look at other people's and I'm like, oh, that looks real good. Mine is like, it's okay, but it's not, you know
what? You know what I recommend to people all the time when they have nerves or they have anxiety around starting something? You got to do something that's like near death.
Right.
Like skydiving, or
I just made my heart drop thinking about it.
Because I promise you though, like once you do something like that, because it's like, what else you gonna be afraid of? Because I had an experience when it was one summer in high school when I went away to visit family, and I ended up jumping off a cliff in the ocean. I had no
you just did it.
I just did it. Like the other kids were doing it.
You felt invincible after that little, like you could take on the world. I was fucking
like, what?
Well,
that's how I was able to start.
I've been on a Goliath, but jump off a cliff.
That's how I was able to start a business. That's how I was able just to push through things, because it's like once you do something like that, but even with your experience with being incarcerated, Santana, if you can go through that,
and that's what are you afraid of? I need to get outside of what people may think, because they don't know my story, so I'm always tripping up and tongue tied between oh my God, this is not, I feel like I have to explain myself. And then I got to a stage in life where I was like, whatever you think of me, that is in your mind for a reason. It's not to be in my intellectual property because you think that of me. That is your opinion. You are entitled to have one. Just
go ahead and skydive. Add that on, because I've been wanting to go. I need another I need another boost. But I'm telling you, if you made it through that, a lot of people can't even imagine that. And it's so crazy because you actually experience, like when you just told me you were dragging your man and you had your hair in a corner. I was like, this is stuff you see in the movies.
Yes.
And I'm speaking to someone that actually experienced it. And I'm like, that's that
was crazy.
Powerful.
When I get out,
fascinating.
And people were like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, I've been home for a year. They're like, you were where? I was like, in prison.
It didn't seem like
they're like, it's no way. They were like, you don't even, I can't tell. I'm like, no, you look
the exact same way.
You're not supposed to tell. I'm not supposed to walk around and look like what I've been through. That's not a part of the plan.
You look you look good. You look the exact same way. Yeah. Well, this was a fun, interesting interview, spiritual, powerful. I look forward to more. We'll probably do more interviews maybe later on, and just to catch up and see what you're doing. We probably later on do a group podcast.
Okay. Thank you for having me. I hope that this just really flourishes for you.
Thank you. And I hope
podcast is like my thing. I hope
start one.
I know.
And then we can start your own, and then we can
merge and bounce off each other.
Yeah, I come to yours. You come. However,
to start.
Yeah. However it goes. Yeah.
And I was speaking of such, and then we can wrap it up. I started a group in prison called Unbreakable. So it was for personal growth and spiritual development. So I don't know how I came up with this idea. I sat on it for years. By 2019, I stopped doing it because I was just like, people in here would rather do this. They don't want really spiritual guidance or a safe place. So I stopped. When I got transferred to Whitworth, something told me to revamp it. I would wake up, have my Bible or just different quotes from some of my motivational books. I would just write out random questions on scripts of paper, right? And I would say something like, at 16, something happened that was traumatizing for you that you just ignored. What was it? You would grab the paper and people were bawling tears, y'all. Hey, you have not forgiven your mother, but why? And they were like, oh my God, I'm not coming to group next Sunday. No. And the group got bigger and bigger. So my goal is to bring that group to life out here. I just don't know how I want to start.
It's gonna come to you.
It's gonna come to me.
But you can't. One thing you can't do is have that fear. You just gotta jump out there.
Just do it.
So even if you just go and start speaking publicly,
yeah, it's gonna be a women's empowerment. Like men are welcome to come because they go through things, but it's mainly for us who had no voice, you know, and we found it. So how could we help other people who are?
That's really powerful. I know they wish. I know they didn't want to come.
They did not want to come. It got bigger and bigger. It was so crazy.
Wow.
It was so crazy.
So that's, God had you in there for a reason. Because I felt it before you went in. I kept looking at you, but I couldn't I couldn't see the story. Yeah. I couldn't see the words. I was like, it's something there. But it was meant for you to be there.
Yeah.
It was because you impacted those people, and those people needed you in there.
Yeah.
And you were the gateway. So
I have a lot of people find their way through darkness, and I couldn't understand because I was fighting my own. But to them, I was light. So it was just like, wow, if I could do that for y'all, like y'all make my days go by a little faster because I get up and look forward to you need my help.
You were supposed to be
I can
there.
help you.
Just like I bring that on in the next episode. That's not for this. But it was the same thing for me being in the environment that I'm in.
Okay, right.
Because it's the same thing.
Right.
They're like, they saw you in prison, they're seeing me.
Right. For you.
Right.
You put a whole different twist.
Right.
Really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait till the next episode.
That's going to be interesting. All right.
Thank you, love. Let's wrap it up.
Hey, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Tap. Hey.